Good afternoon. I'm delighted to have in our office here at Fisher & Partners the lovely Karen Chapman from Renaissance Interiors. I met Karen not very long ago actually. We didn't meet that long ago. It was
we
probably
talked
a year ago.
Yeah, we talked on the phone a bit more, didn't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But both again prolific networkers.
Yeah.
And thankfully now I've stepped into the world of working with these guys on the property side and moved more away from interiors. It's fantastic to be able to work with a lady that I can refer confidently, pass opportunities to, sometimes collaborate with. So I'm delighted to have you here and see if we can share some of your knowledge and your experience with our community. So tell us just a little bit about the background of Renaissance and how it came about.
Okay, so Renaissance started a long time ago, back in 1991, after I'd spent 3 years training at drama school, because my big dream was to be a film director.
Oh, well, now's your chance. Take over from Simon.
So, yeah, I did all the backstage stuff, lighting, costume design, scenery design, that kind of thing. And my ambition was to move, not into theatre, but to move into TV. And whilst I was looking at back in the day when there's no computers, typing 150 plus applications to TV companies, I needed to earn some money. So I started working for a woman who made hand finished curtains. So from the hand finished curtains, when she knew that I was house trained, she would take me out to her clients, and I'd either walk into a space going, oh wow, the curtains are like the cherry on top of the cake, or I'd walk in and I'd go, my God, what were they thinking? And so then the designer side of me started to kick in, and it was a case of, oh yeah, it was in the early, by then it was in the early to mid 80s when changing rooms, the first sort of flush of it was starting, and Linda Barker and Lawrence Llewellyn-Bowen were kind of getting in front of the TV screens for the first time. So interior design was becoming more accessible to normal people,
yes,
rather than just people thinking, oh, it's just for the rich and the famous. So it was perfect timing, really. So it piqued my interest in looking at curtains and interiors and all of that in a larger, broader sense. And I worked for her for a little while, and then carried on looking for for TV and theatre work. But I was offered a contract to design a house in Hayling Island, and I did not have the experience at that time to actually fulfil the job. I could design it, I could do all the brief pictures and put all the schemes together, but I just didn't have the skills at that tender age of mid-20s to actually be able to do the job. So I basically took the job to a Winchester design company and said, if you take me on, you'll get this job. So that's what they did. They took me on and we did the job, and I worked with them for about 3 years. And there were highs and lows. I loved the job to start with, but then the politics of the company just got in the way a little bit. 3 years later, I got offered another private contract, and I thought, this is the time to leave and go out on my own. They taught me a lot, but they also taught me how not to do things, rather than just how to do things. So I did learn a lot from them. So I started my own business with this one contract in 1991. And at the time it was just me, so I did the making of all the curtains, I did all the drilling, putting up all the curtains and the poles, the poles and the pelmets and all that sort of stuff. And then over the years, obviously,
it's evolved.
It's evolved, and the lead times would have got too long, so I got a team together, and interior design has got bigger, and so we now obviously moved away from just doing the curtains. We're now interior design, we're design and build. The team has obviously grown.
And you're based in Hartley-Whitney?
Yeah, so we're in a high street office in Hartley-Whitney, so that's really lovely because my heart is in Hartley-Whitney. We've lived there now for nearly 20 years. My children went to the schools there, but now...
But that doesn't restrict you, because you can offer your service, can't you, nationwide, although geographically, when you do the installations and you're project managing in your design and build projects, you want it fairly close, home counties.
Absolutely.
But of course, I think with COVID, it taught us all how to adapt our businesses to be delivering an electronic service. And like you, I guess, the opportunity is that you can design something in Scotland because we have the ability via technology for you to offer your fantastic design services regardless of location.
Yeah, absolutely. We had, before COVID even struck, we had a service called Bespoke by Remote. And our work went further afield than we physically did. When COVID hit, it really came into its own. So we'd serviced and designed projects that we never stepped over the door for. So we worked with the clients, used Zoom and all those other online tools to communicate and to give them the tools in which they needed to design it. And it worked really, really well. Our work has, we've made curtains that are now in Lake Geneva, and our work can go anywhere in the world, really.
Fantastic. And in terms of, there's always a myth, isn't there? I mean, you hit on it early on. People think, or used to think, oh, we can't have an interior designer. You've got to be a millionaire to have an interior designer. Well, you and I both know that's not true. And I think the world's getting a bit more educated now to know that it's affordable and it's available for the masses rather than the few and the privileged. So in terms of what services you can do, I know, but share with us, how little or how much people can use you for, and how much or how little involved they can be themselves. Where do they start, where do they finish, and what kind of options have they got?
Yeah, I mean, with us, we're a very approachable company, and I don't ever want anyone to feel intimidated by the label of interior designer, because it's an umbrella term, really, because not every interior design company offers the same services. Now, our services can start from very, very small. If you just want a cushion made, we'll make you just a cushion. That's absolutely fine. And similarly, if you just want a blind for a window, we'll happily do that for you. But we offer curtain making and bespoke curtains and blinds and upholstery from small scale for one room, one window to a hotel, for example. Like if we're doing a boutique hotel, we can do that too. And then interior design, there's the starting small, where people can just pay us for a few hours of consultations to say, we've had these ideas, but because quite often the husband and wife don't agree.
Oh, so I remember that. You become mediator in the middle.
Exactly, yes. So they need someone with an objective eye to just sift out what will and won't work. So you can just pay us for a few hours of time to just kind of do that and guide you and set you on the right path. But equally, we're there to help, and with obviously the right contacts. We know a lot of people, we have a lot of contacts, and we have all of the tried and trusted suppliers that work with us anyway. So we can introduce them to decorators, we can project manage if they need to, we can obviously make the curtains and blinds if they want to. So, it's as much or as little hand-holding or action as they actually require. And none of it is a hard sell. It's all there for them, and they only have to ask. We're there to help.
Sure. And I guess the myth of, oh, it's going to cost me a lot of money, you could turn it the other way and say, in actual fact, it could save you a lot of money. Because for every time, and I'm sure you have the same, you go to somebody's house and they say, I've decorated this living room 3 times and I still hate it. What am I getting wrong?
Yeah.
Well, you just think, if only you'd asked for the help in the first place, you might not have revisited this room and spent money on it 3 times.
Exactly.
So sometimes bringing in the experts early on can save you time, money, stress, possibly a divorce, who knows? any of the above. But yeah, I think bringing someone in with your skill and knowing or not being intimidated by the title and say, well, we know that we can have a consultation call with you, a discovery call, I think you call it in your work, in your business, to explore what the options are. And they also have the option, because people often think as well they don't get the chance to create their own budget. The budget doesn't have to be set by you, does it? They can come up with their own budgets.
No, absolutely, because fabrics, for example, you can pay fabric for £15 a metre, £150 a metre plus. So we're not into the hard sell of a particular pitch at whatever level of that. But our curtain making will be priced for the labour will be exactly the same whether or not the fabric's priced low, medium or high. Yeah. You'll still get the same quality of product. And it's all about being led by the client. So the client may say to me, we've got a budget of, and we will try as best we can to work within that budget. It may be that we have to layer it further down the line and say, there are some other things that would work really well, but that may come at a later stage. And I always say to people, think of your project like a jigsaw puzzle. You think you have the picture, and then it's broken up into little tiny bits, and then every stage you put the puzzle together and you create your big picture. Now sometimes it might be that there's a couple of pieces of that picture missing, and you know that we've just got to find the perfect thing. Now if you talk to us early enough, then we can guide you as to what that might be, and you might not say, I'm ready for that right now, whether it's a budget constraint or a time constraint, but you know exactly what that piece looks like, the colour, the size, the product. And when you're ready, you know you can go out and get that, and then it will slot perfectly in. If you don't paint that big picture first and understand what you're creating, what might happen is you'll start putting things together randomly, and it just won't fit together, and you're going to try and force square peg round hole, because you never build a jigsaw puzzle and then paint the picture on top. You have the picture, and then you put the bits together. So it's just thinking, it's almost like, think of it like a design sat-nav. You never start on a journey we've never been before and not know where you're going. You know where you're going and you break down the journey.
Someone helps you.
So we're like a design sat-nav in a way, so that we help people along their journey. We can stop along the way, we can take pauses, we can take refreshment breaks, whatever, but it just helps people to just plan where it is they actually want to end up. And like you said earlier, people can save money by not wasting it, and we're not going to be, it's not because it's a discount thing, it's because we're not going to waste time creating the wrong thing. And because we create our designs in 3D and 2D, and there's lots of ways we can share the information, they can really get to visualise what that space looks like. So our 3D modelling means that they can virtually walk into that room and see what it will look like to sit in that chair and look out the window or watch the TV or whatever the room's for. And they can really experience what that room's going to look like. So they can look at the room from every angle, very much like the TV programme Your Home Made Perfect, but without the goggles, So it allows people to really understand that space. And at that moment, if they go, oh, well, I don't like that colour on the wall or a lamp or whatever, well, if we change it digitally, it's so much easier than ordering something they're not liking it, then it's frustrating, it's the wrong size, the wrong shape, the wrong colour. So all of that technology is all at our fingertips, and we are willing to, happy and willing to share.
You've embraced it, and again, it's making interior design not just accessible to everyone, but making the process pain-free much better. Okay, so here's a question then. Pinterest.
Yes.
How much of a pain or not is that for you? Tell me all about it, because everyone seems to be, I remember lots of people, particularly ladies of leisure, looking by the hour every day through Pinterest. How does that affect you? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? How do you work with clients when they have this defined look that they've seen somewhere?
Yeah, so the thing about Pinterest is there is so much content there. And again, it's sorting out the wheat from the chaff. So it's great when I work for somebody that I've never met before, and so I don't know much about them.
Yes.
And I want to learn about who they are, what their family dynamic is, what the future is in the next kind of 5 years, because we want to future-proof projects as much as possible. So we want to build in solutions that could be up and coming, whether it's family change dynamic, whether parents are going to come and live, or children are moving to university, or new babies arriving. So we're looking at sort of a 5-year plan. But also when we try and understand them, it's all about what their cherished things are. But they always, nearly every single time, have been on Pinterest to go look at, and screenshot everything. And so everybody seems to have this kind of digital scrapbook of ideas of a look or a solution to a problem. And that's, again, another place we come from, is what are the problems we're trying to solve. Interior design is not just, as well is not just about pretty colours, cushions and fabrics. Interior design is about space awareness, the flow of a house, finding the solutions within that space to make your lifestyle flow so much more easily. Interior design is finding solutions to your lifestyle problems, and that's why working with people as early as that first light bulb moment of, oh God, this is a problem, I haven't got any storage, or baby's on the way, or whatever it is, the earlier you bring us in, the better we can help, because you're not going to be spending money on a that'll do for now, because your that'll do for now will become your that'll be it forever, because you just can't.
And you'll never like it. It's just a make do that becomes something that's always there. And that's the other thing as well, isn't it, with interior design, is the sooner you're in, the better. So if you can be involved when the builder's being instructed, when the architectural plans are being drawn up, it's amazing how much input and value an interior designer can have to the architectural format and layout of a property, and engaging early with that architect and the builder and creating a team with open communication and 3 heads being better than one. Fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Never too soon to bring you in, is it?
No, it isn't. And although obviously some of the things we do are the last things to be implemented, they are the first things to be considered.
Yes.
So it's we are very often the very first people in the project, and then with the handhold throughout it, and we're the very last people to leave kind of thing. So it's really, again, really important you have a really good communication with your interior designer, and that you feel you're listened to. The last thing I ever want anyone to feel is that they're being bullied into something. And if you remember the early changing rooms where people are sent out, and that's obviously the format to show that they don't get input, and some results were very well received, and some felt that they were not listened to, didn't get what they wanted, and they were heartbroken. And that is, that's absolutely the antithesis of what I want to achieve. It's all about open communication. We are there to solve their problems. It's their lifestyle that we're hoping to enhance. And we listen to what it is.
And the thing is as well, is if you go from an architect's perspective or a builder's perspective, they have a price per foot that they're trying to design or build to. They've got so many units or so big a space that they're able to work with within their permitted or planning consent. And they look at it as how much are they getting for value for money for the square footage that they can build. But they're not thinking, at the end, where's the lamp going to go?
No.
Which wall is the sofa going to be on? Where's the light coming from the window? And is it going to be shining on the TV screen? They don't think of that. That's your job.
Yeah.
So if you're involved at the beginning, you save that costly retrospective fixing when all the sockets are in the wrong place, because you can't put a lamp where they've put the socket, and vice versa. And if one of my pet hates is trailing cables, that is my nightmare, is trailing cables across walls when they didn't need to be. If someone had asked me early enough, where do you want the sockets? But of course, if you bring in the interior designer once the house has been done, or the extension, it's too late. And retrospective changes are expensive.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. And as the sort of modern preference at the moment is having a multifunctional great room. So normally it consists of a snug, a dining room and a kitchen. And quite often those are vast echoey spaces to start with. Now, you create these three zones within this room. You quite often find that the dining table is obviously floating away from the wall, and the snug is floating away from the wall. But you don't want to have to go over there to make, to turn your lamp on. You might want the lamps around your sofa huddle. But again, your trailing cable example is perfect, because also it's a safety issue. You can't have a cable walking across the pathway. But if you plan it early enough, you can put the floor socket underneath the sofas so that they're safe, they're out of the way, out of sight, out of mind. But again, you've got to do that before the underfloor heating goes in. Because you don't want to try and do that afterwards, because there's a disaster.
All those things that just are a breath of fresh air and a joy to me. Floor sockets and pocket doors.
Oh, I love a
pocket door. I love a pocket door, so it doesn't break into the space of a living space. Fantastic. So if we have people that would like to come and see your work, obviously you've got your showroom, your lovely showroom in Hartley Whitney. I've been to it, it's beautiful. They can see fabrics, they can see wall coverings, they can have a consultation with you. Obviously you'll go to their house as well. That's the perfect scenario. You can see how they live, what they like, colours, point out things in the house they like or they don't like. How else can they engage with you? You've got a lovely new website, I know.
Yeah, our website is there for all to see. We're always happy to have a chat. We would suggest that we always start with a discovery call, like I say, normally on Zoom, so that we can see each other They can show, quite often I get a little video tour around the house, or you can send me photographs in advance, just so I can really understand the space that we're talking about. And then once we've done a discovery call, if we think we're kind of aligned, then we'll move on to a site visit before any money changes hands. No one has to pay me for any of that. And then site visit, and after we've done the site visit, that's when we will give a proposal for whatever it is they're looking to do.
Great stuff. Well, it's been a delight talking to you. If I needed my house interior designing, I'd know where to come. Thank you very much, Karen. It's been fantastic to talk to you, and I'd strongly encourage anyone to come and have a chat with you and you to share your experience and hopefully get a beautiful home at the end. Thank you for taking the time to see us today.
Thanks, Liz. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.